Hello, folks. Oh, not yet. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Getting Started with Vendasta and our session today. Just going to quickly share my slideshow here. Pardon me, I'm working with one screen. I hope everyone is doing well. Here in Saskatoon, we had some freezing rain last night. So, for those of you who don't live in Canada, be grateful that you don't have to deal with freezing rain. All right, are we seeing that all right? Perfect. So, as I mentioned, today we are talking about AI prompting, and it's AI prompting 101, very high level. We're going to teach you how to train and deploy customized AI employees today. As always, I am your host today, Nathan Yaworski, joined by my partner in crime, Hadley Schmidt. We are your onboarding specialists here at Vendasta, and we're going to be taking you through this training today. As always, we've got some housekeeping to address. We've got a recording happening, of course. We are recording, and we will share a replay link in a follow-up email. Any questions that we have, we are going to be doing some live Q&A following the presentation, and we ask that you use the Q&A section to ask those questions. Hadley is going to be monitoring that today and answering some questions as they come in, and others we will address at the end. You can access past recordings of this webinar in our YouTube playlist or in our content library as well. Thank you very much, Hadley, for putting that up there. So feel free to visit that later on. So today we're going to talk about, I actually built a nicer slide for that one. What is an AI prompt? And forgive me just 1 second here. I'm going to stop sharing here. It's not showing me what I need to show to see my presentation notes. Here we go. Presenter view. That's what I want. Beautiful. Now let me share that. I won't take you behind the curtain here. The joys of working with one screen today. There we are. All right. So, what is an AI prompt? An AI prompt, what the heck? Oh, there we go. An AI prompt is essentially a set of instructions, but it's not simply just a question or what's the word I'm looking for? It's not really just a simple set of instructions. You don't actually just have a conversation. Essentially, you are trying to direct this large language model to perform a specific task. So instead of just being a question, a really professional prompt is actually acting as the programming code of the natural language era, which defines the persona, the logic, and the output boundaries of your AI agent. Essentially, when you are creating a prompt, you're doing some coding, which I never thought I would be doing in my life. But here we are. We're in the wonderful world where coding is becoming more and more accessible. And the beginning for that, for an AI agent, is the prompt. So I'm going to dispel a few myths here about AI agents. Myth number 1, the AI is going to understand my intent automatically. Unfortunately, that is not true. The AI is smart, but it's only a pattern matching machine. It's not a mind reader. So if you're not so specific, it's going to fill in the gaps with its own assumptions, and often those assumptions are going to be wrong. So you always want to make sure that you are being specific with your intent. Myth number 2, longer prompts are better. In reality, quality is more important than quantity, and more often than not, less is more. Overly wordy prompts can lead to prompt drift, where the AI loses track of its primary goal. So you want to use structured markdown instead of just a wall of text to train your AI. Myth number 3, you have to say please and thank you for better results. Now, politeness isn't required. It's always nice. It doesn't hurt, but the AI doesn't have feelings. It responds to clarity and logic, not politeness. So focus your word count on instructions, not etiquette. And the last myth here, once a prompt works, it's finished forever. The reality is prompting is iterative. Uh, as models, AI models update or edge cases arise, often your system prompt is going to need versioning and refinement. So it's never a completely finished product. It is a living document that you should be updating as the AI gets better, as those edge cases arise. So, what are some best practices for creating an AI prompt? Step one, you want to define your persona. The AI needs to know who it is and what it's supposed to be doing. Now, you want to be pretty specific with this. Let's use the example of an AI chat receptionist, like the one that lives on your website when you become a Vendasta partner. Um, the weak persona would be you are a chatbot on a website that answers questions and books meetings. I mean, technically that is what it is, but an agent without that specified persona often defaults to that generic assistant, and a receptionist without a persona sounds like a robot, frequently asked questions bot. A defined persona is going to sound like a helpful team member. So a strong persona in this case would be you are the lead generation or the lead concierge for insert company name here. Your mission is to provide a seamless 5-star impression. You're professional, welcoming, highly organized, and your primary goal is to qualify leads and move them into the next stage of our sales funnel with a helpful can-do attitude. Step two, you want to be creating structure for your prompt with Markdown. Now, what is Markdown? Essentially, it uses Markdown uses headings, attention mechanisms called headers, which tell the AI what instructions are non-negotiable and what is sort of a secondary detail. So this gold standard structure you can see we lay out in hashtags. One hashtag is a heading 1, 2 hashtags a heading 2, 3 hashtags a heading 3. Heading 1 is your system role and your mission. Who are you and why are you? For example, you're a lead concierge and a brand ambassador. Heading number 2 is the core responsibilities. That's 2 hashtags. That's the what they are. Break down their mission into functional pillars like qualifying leads. And then finally, we have heading number 3, that's 3 hashtags, and that's constraints and formatting. So the how they're going to be doing it, those fine print rules. For instance, if there's for examples or prohibited phrases that you want to make sure don't come up, that's where you would specify them in that 3rd heading. Next, you want to provide some gold standard examples. The AI learns best when it's being shown and not told. So it learns through pattern recognition. So examples are a lot more powerful than descriptions. So give your AI some input-output pairs, 1 to 3 examples of a user question, a common user question, and your ideal response. This doesn't mean it's going to parrot your response exactly unless you tell it to. But if you tell it to do that, why have an AI at all? You want it to be able to think on its own using the examples that you've put out to put something in its own words that's going to get the point across as well. So give it 1 to 3 examples of that query and your ideal response. And also in that markdown, this is where you would want to label them clearly as the 3 hashtags example 1, 3 hashtags example 2 to avoid any confusion. Always nest it in that 3rd level of your markdown heading. Next, you want to establish guardrails. You want to define those boundaries for your AI, what you shouldn't be saying. Don't ever talk about price. Don't ever, respond to rudeness with rudeness. You also want to define things like handling how it handles ambiguity. So if the request that it's given by a user is unclear, always say ask for clarification instead of just guessing. Also, define what is within scope for your AI, which topics the agents should refuse to talk about. And then a nice pro tip here is to explicitly state if you don't know the answer, just say so. Don't make something up. We all know AI, if left to its own devices completely, does tend to hallucinate and come up with data or answers with no backing. That's why it's so important to specifically say, if you don't know the answer, just say so. It builds a lot more trust than an AI that makes stuff up. And then step 5 here, and this is a little bit more advanced and probably more advanced than you need to get to with the AI chat receptionist, because a lot of that we built out for you. But if you're building your own AI agents and you are feeling a little more comfortable building out some more advanced features, you want to build that AI's chain of thought to encourage step-by-step thinking. So you can ask it to do its reasoning first. So ask the model specifically, outline your logic in a thinking tag, and then this helps the answers be a little bit more accurate. It reduces those hallucinations and makes sure that it's checking the constraints that you put it before it gives an answer. Now, as I said, this is less important for, say, the AI chat receptionist, whose main job is to capture leads. But if you're building a custom agent that needs to handle logic or math or any kind of complex coding, this would be a very important thing to be keeping in mind. Like I say, a little bit more advanced, not so much for the tools that we have access to and the tools that we're using here. All right. I'd like to take us into our demo environment to briefly show you where all of these things live, so that you can see if you are wanting to build out your own AI. You can do that. So here we are in our demo environment, the Fig Amplify local AI marketing agency that we've got here. And as always, if you are looking to work with your AI tools in Partner Center, that's going to live under the AI section here. And we go to the AI workforce. So for instance, let's say we wanted to take a look at the instructions for our chat receptionist. Now, the chat receptionist is kind of a unique one. Remember, we talked about the markdown and then like the one hashtag heading of who it is and what it's supposed to do. This is that one hashtag heading. This can't really be changed for the chat receptionist. It always is supposed to provide a fast, helpful response to anyone messaging your business. It's always supposed to answer questions, promote your products and services, and capture contact info for your team to follow up. So you can't change that functionality of the chat receptionist. Now you can, if you are building a custom employee, which on most paid subscriptions of our platform, you will have access to. Hadley, can you remember if standard or if starter plans have access to this? I don't off the top of my head. Or Sarah, I see her in there as well.
Are you, sorry, referring to the custom employee?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into it. I just want to know. Oh, I see Sarah says yes. So starter plans can use the custom employee as well, and then that's where you would define that top level of your hierarchy, your information hierarchy. That first heading, the one hashtag, that would go in there when you're building it. But we're going to keep using the chat receptionist as our example because it's already set up for us. Now, if we dig deeper, we go to configure, as most of you should know how to do by now. If not, we have an excellent, Hadley, I'll get you to throw that link up for the YouTube videos. Again, we have an excellent walkthrough on how to set up your AI receptionist in our previous sessions. But this screen should be familiar to most of you. All right, so we're in here, and we're going to look at the role here. So you can see we don't have any one hashtags in here because that's already covered by the screen we saw previous. But all of its goals, its instructions are on the to header, the to hashtags. So you are a representative of a business speaking with potential customers. Speak in a friendly, approachable, and clear manner. Maintain professionalism over informality. Be succinct. Keep the conversation moving. These are all like specific priorities that we want it to have. And then you can see we've got a couple here that are in that that third tier, that third heading tier. This is where you would put any prohibitions you want to give it or any examples you want to give it. So in this one here, we specifically stated, for example, so our main one here is use the predominant language of the conversation or the primary language of the customer country where the business is located. And then as our for example. To subhead that under 3 hashtags, we say, for example, if someone says, hola, can you tell me which services do you offer? You should respond in English because the predominant language of that question is in English. And if I had some other examples that I wanted to throw in here as well, if somebody asks, what your business hours are, make sure you tell them, or something like that. If you want to specify that out, honestly, for a lot of that business information, it's going to do a good job finding that info from your website. But if there is ever like a specific type of tone or specific way you want it to be answering, throwing in a couple examples under here is going to help it be able to iterate on that and become even more natural and better. So that's essentially where that prompt lives. Like I mentioned, the first one, that first line, the 1 hashtag heading, is this definition of what the chat receptionist is and who it is, and what it's supposed to be doing. And then those other instructions go here under the role. Now you can see, if you want to see how we build out prompts for specific capabilities, it's very similar. If we click into capture leads, you can see we're writing this down in Markdown notation as well. Here's the contact information flow, and here are the steps it needs to take on the 3rd level. If you ever make changes to this, or you make changes to the role here, let's say I'm going to add, this is a test. I'll just add something in there and I'll click save. Now you can see this role has been modified, and I can see at a glance, oh, I've added something to this. Now, if you add something and all of a sudden it doesn't work, or it breaks the flow of conversation, and you want to get back to the base starting, all you do, click this little arrow, roll back to managed, and we pop it back, and that little instruction I threw in there is now gone. And that'll also happen with the capabilities as well. It'll show you if it's been modified. You'll be able to roll back to managed if your prompt tweaking didn't work out. So that's essentially prompt 101. Now, I by no means am an expert in the field of AI prompting. I am learning just like everybody else is, because this is fairly cutting edge. It's fairly, right at the forefront of emerging technology here. And if you have any doubts or anything that you want to try out, but you're not sure how to phrase it, what you can also use is use AI to help generate those prompts to see what AI thinks that it would be good for. So, for instance, when giving my example prompt of what a good persona would be, I asked Gemini, hey, I want to give a good persona for my AI chat receptionist. What would that look like? And it gave me a lovely little paragraph of what good looks like. So using AI in your quest to train your own AI is absolutely in play. And full transparency, I did a lot of that with this production. So thank you so much. That is all I have for you today. I would like to dive into some questions now, if we have any questions there.
Yeah, for sure. So the first one is from Tommy. Hey team, can we get a white label of the slide deck to use in our own sales presentations?
Tommy, that's a really good question. Essentially, I don't think there'd be a problem with that. I would need to go through and just make sure I'm checking all my boxes. But I'd be more than happy to share this with the folks who've shown up here. So I'll put that on my to-do list to get you a copy of this deck in a follow-up email. Great question.
Perfect. Thank you, Tommy. The next one comes from David. Is there a way for me to monetize an AI assistant on my site? For example, I have an HRSA compliance AI that I've been using quite successfully to look at things like MOUs, etc., for my health centers. I'd like to monetize so people can log in and use the AI assistant to start the discussion or review, with my eyes always monitoring and overseeing the review and final responses.
Well, that is a very specific use case. Is there a way to monetize? So you have a compliance AI. You are having it to look. So what you essentially want is to be able to have your customers log into your AI that you built to look at things like those MOUs, et cetera, for health centers. There should be a way to do that. I am by no means the best best person to come to for like sales implementation. I recommend maybe speaking to your Vendasta employee, but at first, or your Vendasta sales team, your account manager or whatnot. But as a at a first glance, something like that could be you sell your clients Conversations AI so that they get access to the chat receptionist on their website, they get access to the voice or whatever. Activating that also gives them access to building out custom employees. And what you could do is build out that custom employee in their business app so that they can then use it. I don't know exactly what that would look like from your perspective. However, I think a good place to start would be speak to your Vendasta either customer success manager or your account manager, and they would likely have some good insight on the best way to do something like that. Thanks so much, David.
Awesome. One more from David. Is there a table of instructions for roles, capabilities, etc., or is it simple and free-flowing as you are demonstrating?
Everything that I've done with our AI has been fairly simple and free flowing. I don't have like a specific table of instructions or capabilities. Although, rather, sorry, I shouldn't say capabilities. Let me show you. For capabilities, we do have some pre-built out in our system here. So if you click on Add a Capability, now the downside to this is if we're looking here, if we want to add a capability to our chat receptionist, this isn't super well sorted, and I have made some requests to have this maybe a bit better organized in here for you guys. But there's not really a good way at a glance to see, oh, which one is for which employee. Now, if we go into our capabilities, the AI capabilities section in general, we can see that if there's a product associated with it, it'll show up here. So if it was a reputation specialist one, it would show up on here. Assigned employees. So if it was just attached to your social specialist or something like that, it would show up here. But there's not really, so they are built out, things like transferring calls, book appointments, access review data. But there's not really a good at a glance way to see, oh, which one should I use this for? So you have to kind of use your common sense. My chat receptionist doesn't need to be able to access and review access review data. It needs to be able to book appointments, for instance. It can book appointments, but it's not there to score meetings because it's not having meetings. It's not there to generate review responses because that's not the sort of agent it is. Best thing I can say for your chat receptionist, that book appointments one is gold. It links to the My Meetings section in your CRM. So you can link your calendar link to the AI, and the AI can actually book in for your clients. Another good one for some of your customers would be checking the WooCommerce inventory or accessing the Shopify store, which is somewhere in here. Shopify catalog, that would be good for some of your clients' chatbots. But you have to kind of use your best judgment. Does this capability make sense for the AI employee that I'm putting it on? But if you're building your own, very free form, which is why I recommend letting AI help you with the AI crafting. It's going to give you some good formatting help. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you. So the next one is from Oliver. How do we define what should go under role versus the prompt? There are two different sections in the platform. Does one override the other?
That's a good question. So role is the prompt for the agent's personality. Prompts under the capabilities are the prompt for that specific functionality. So if you're looking at role in there, that is a prompt, but it's a prompt for the persona of the AI. Whereas if you're going into the capabilities and going to the prompt, if you're going to, where is it here? Sorry, lost my tab here. Figure, and then prompt. Oh, I see. Yeah, there is a second spot here. Thank you for bringing that here. So I'm going to bring us back in here. So we have our role. That's the behavioral guidelines. Yeah, get out of here. Save. Uh, that's at a glance. And this is very surface level. If you want to view the whole prompt, like the more detailed prompt that we built out for this chat receptionist, you can view that in here. So here's where you have the headings, capability, personality. Here's where you have your communication style, your default content, capturing leads. So essentially, the role is specific to the personality, but it's very high level. If you want to make just little changes or little updates to this role, if you're wanting to get into the bones of it, you click on View Prompt, and you can get into the bones of it here. It goes into a lot more detail. For quick changes, I recommend using the role, but essentially this flows out of this prompt. Great question.
Thank you, Oliver. We have a longer one from Michelle. We are streamlining all of our clients' communication to come through the business app. Is there a plan to have AI chat to respond to those messages that come through the business app now? I know it answers chats that come through outside channels, but what about directly in the business app? If not, can we create a custom employee to do that? I asked Vendasta's AI bot, but it couldn't answer this question.
Awesome. Michelle, thank you for starting with the AI bot. That's always a good first step, but it doesn't know everything because it doesn't necessarily have eyes onto our roadmap. The short answer is this is something that you could do. Can you bring the question up again? I just want to make sure I'm answering it in its entirety. This is something you could do with a custom AI employee, and it's something that we internally for ourselves have been exploring to have an instant kind of response in our chat. However, in our case, it's our partner center talking to our partners' partner centers, not talking to business app. But you could potentially build that out in a custom AI employee. There's not something that we have on the immediate roadmap to build out, but it is something that has been explored and has been talked about.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. And one last question here today is from David. Is there a way to teach our AI to go out to the internet and search for websites, CEO names, emails, phone numbers, etc., and update our CRM? I looked at Yesware, but it is really pricey.
So there's a lot packed into there, David, but thank you. This is an excellent question. So first and foremost, there is a capability to search the web under AI capabilities. Searches the web for current information and resources to help answer user questions. However, that information is going to be what's kind of generally publicly available. That's not going to get you the depth of knowledge that you would get with Yesware prospecting or Zoom Info or LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's going to find, it'll look for what's generally available. And to be completely honest, I have not explored the full capabilities of the search, the web technology, because for most of the people I'm working with, it's partners training their AI chat. And I wouldn't recommend having your AI chat receptionist be able to search the web on your public website, because there's always a chance that a user says, well, what are some other agencies in my area that I could go to instead that are cheaper? And then it does search the web and finds maybe your competitor's information in there. For an internal tool, like a custom agent just for you to use, David, I think you could use that search the web fruitfully, but it's not going to be as in-depth as Yesware prospecting, Sales Navigator on LinkedIn, or Zoom Info, or similar tools like that.
Thank you, David, for all of your questions. And those are the ends of our questions.
Awesome. Folks, I really want to thank you today for your time. It has been a pleasure talking to you. I want to also thank you for bearing with me as I was on one screen. Before I started this job, I only ever used one monitor, and now I don't know how I did it, because it is just heck trying to go back and forth. So you guys have been great being kind to me. A little sneak peek for next time. We have Conversations AI. Does that look right, Hadley? I actually didn't look. I have
Yep.
snapshot reports, but maybe I have the old one.
Yep. I believe we're on to the Conversations AI next week.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So this is going to be really relevant, learning not only how to set it up for yourself, but also how to sell it to your clients and set it up for them, and how they can take control of their AI as well. So stay tuned for that. We're looking forward to it, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Bye now.